5:30.
All right. Yay. Well, my name's Pamela George, and this is the first class I've ever taught, so bear with me, and we'll just muddle through this together. But we're going to make some flowers today, and it's actually very, very simple. I think you'll be surprised how easy it is. And we're going to start with the hydrangeas, which look daunting, but they're not. So the first thing I do is I make a pinch pot. So what we do is just get some clay and make a little ball. And you can make it as big as you want. Just keep in mind when you make this, it's going to be this much bigger when you put the flowers on it. So this is going to be this big.
Okay.
Okay. So I just make a little pinch pot. And this is going to be the shell of the, and usually I do just half of one because normally they just attach to something. If you want to do a whole ball, I get two of them and I put them together. And then that's how you make your ball. But it's really just this simple. I have a pretty one that I already made. So basically this is just what it looks like.
Okay.
Oh, pretty.
Isn't that pretty? See how
Just a
ugly?
wide open Pam.
Pretty, I know. It's okay, I can take it. So that's the easy part. Now,
Okay.
Oh, it's those chairs.
I know. So how do you make all these little flowers? So what I do is, if I know I'm going to make this, I'll sit in front of the TV while I'm watching TV, and I'll just make a ton of these and put them in this with like a little wet cloth or paper towel, and I just, make as many as I can, and then assembly is super easy. I used to make one at a time, put it on, make one, and it just took too long. So basically all you need to do is make a little ball, and then you're going to roll it and make like a little pellet out of it. So it's a little pellet. Just looks like this. Okay? I'm going to have some of you try this when I show you how to cut it. Show you how to do it. It's super simple.
3/4 of an inch long.
And it depends on how big you want the flowers. So you can make it bigger and you're going to have a flower this size, or you can make it smaller and you have a little flower this size. It all depends on how big this pellet is. Okay, and then you just get a knife of whatever sort. You want something that's fairly sharp and thin. Okay,
But it's a blade.
yeah, it's a little blade. Any type of blade will work. You can use this kind of blade too. That's a common tool.
And we have scalpels for $1 a piece.
Oh, you do? Good.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I might buy some of those. So then what you want to do is you're going to take your blade and you're going to make a cut right down the middle, about halfway down, just like that. And then don't make another cut all the way across. You're going to make two separate cuts on either side, so that you have 4. Now you can do it where you have 5 or 6 if you want to make really intricate flowers, but for hydrangeas it's just easy to do the 4. So then you just separate them just with your finger, separate it, and then all you can do is take your thumb and you're going to smash the top of it. Just smash it. And then you have a little flower. See how easy that is?
You smashed it with your thumb?
Yep. At the top of it, just smash straight down. So who wants to try one?
I
Anybody
do.
want to try one? Anybody else want to try one?
So you went down about a 1/4 inch?
No, about halfway through.
Oh, about halfway through.
Give everybody one and you can make a pot.
There you go. So true. And be careful not to squeeze it up top. Hold it from the bottom, because if you squeeze it up top when you're doing it, it's hard to take it, hard to separate it. So I would go from the bottom, hold it from the bottom,
Uh-oh, right, I think I didn't do it quite right there, but it's okay.
Yeah, you get the,
Yeah, I'm supposed to smash it.
yeah. Now, if you want to do more than just 4 petals, then you just do 5 cuts.
I have a Band-Aid on my finger.
Mm-hmm.
Disturbs it, but.
But still, you got it.
But you got the idea. Good job.
Yeah, see? So if you want to do more, I would just did 5 separate cuts in here. And then you just separate it. And then you smash it. See, being so easy. And then you have a little bit of a bigger flower. Instead of 4, there's a little bit more. So it just depends. Like if I'm only doing 1 hydrangea, maybe I'll make it like this. But if I'm doing a bunch, I'm only going to do 4. Because otherwise it takes too long. So then, now that you have that done, you're going to attach them. Now this is a part through trial and error. You want to take your time and really attach it well, because I can't tell you how many of these have fallen off in firings or glazings and such. So I have found that it's super important. And what I do is, and I love this thing for scoring, it's my favorite tool in the world. I just score this like crazy. And I'll do a batch at a, an area at a time. And I get it nice and rough and gooey. And then this is my glue, and boy, do I plaster it on. This is slip. And yeah, don't be shy.
Do you use vinegar in that?
No, I've never heard of that. What does that do?
They say that half
Prevents
of
cracking.
vinegar in your slip makes a better glue, basically.
Ooh, I'm gonna try that. I have never heard that. Yeah. And then you're gonna wanna score each one of these. And then I also put some on here. And then you just pop it on. And then I just wiggle a little tiny bit, and that's it. And then you just keep doing that, and you get yourself, you'll see the bigger the flower, the less time it takes, because you don't have to cover as much surface. And then literally, there's no right way to do it. You just put it, snug it up next to it. And before you know it,
That's great. That looks like fun.
it is fun. And it's meditative. Like, you just kind of get into it, but see how easy that is? And you just cover the whole thing. Yeah. It's super.
Now, did you ever, when you have it completely covered, you remove any slip?
No. Because you don't see you don't see it. And it just, I have found by trying them, before I used just, light coating a slip and stuff, but I have found that the more you put on, because you're not going to see it,
Yeah, you're right.
the more you put on, the better it holds. Like none of these fell off during any of the process, but you have to take the time, to really do it,
Right.
to do it right. So that is how easy a hydrangea is. I bet you didn't think it was going to be that easy. Giving away all my secrets.
But for the glaze, you did it separately. You did the glaze blue on some and then white on the other part.
Yes, on this one, yeah. I just wanted to, I am so much a white person. Everything I glaze is white, so this is like the only color I've done. So everybody's like, please put some color on your stuff. So that was I put a little bit, and then I kind of got a little bit more adventurous. But
So what is this glaze?
that is your glaze. It's the turquoise.
Turquoise?
Did you brush it on?
I did.
That one's turquoise too?
That's
low.
that's a low fire glaze that we
Oh,
don't have here.
right.
Yeah.
I like this.
Can tell
color.
the difference.
Maybe the
Yeah.
oxidation will
Come
come
out
out
brighter.
brighter.
You see turquoise.
Yeah.
Oh, like, yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what the other one
Or maybe it was just turquoise on here. I think.
The turquoise though wouldn't have the little bit of lilac or lavender in it, I don't think.
Maybe retail too.
Yeah,
No, I
maybe.
can't remember.
Kind of bluish.
Pat, turquoise changes.
Yeah, I'm
I've
pretty
never
sure
seen
I just
pink,
did
though.
turquoise on this.
Just turquoise,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm pretty sure I did. And I think I think maybe because I brushed it on, it's thicker in some parts than others.
Yeah,
With
that
boba,
could
you
be
paint
it.
it on too?
The boba?
That
Yeah,
could
you
be
painted
I
it.
that?
painted that on, yeah.
You brush the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
I only dip when I just want like a pure solid color.
Mm.
I mean, it's too hard to dip this because,
Yeah,
you know,
well,
there's
yeah.
too much going on. Yeah. All right, so that was the hydrangea. And then last night I made a couple different flowers. This is a poppy.
Oh.
And then this was supposed to be like a kind of a ruffled tulipy type of thing. So, but it can be anything you want. And also you can make it bigger and it can almost be like a poinsettia or something. I don't know. It just, everyone kind of turns out different. And then just kind of a pretty simple flower. And then I'm going to show you how to do this one because these are two totally different techniques, how I did both of these. So I'm going to show you this technique, which I did these three, which is really simple. And you can vary. I just showed you different three processes. It's the same technique, but you can, it depends on the shape of the leaf and what you do on it just to make it different. So the sky's the limit on how many different types of flowers and how they come out, and there's no right or wrong way really to do this. But what you want to do is you want to take a slab that you rolled out.
That's like magic.
Voila! See how easy that is? And for this one, all you're gonna need is, I have these cutouts. And I think these are probably cookie cutters or something. I don't know where I found them. I think I found them at Michael's or someplace. I'm always looking for like things you can use. And
Did you cut the edges?
no, they
came
were like
that way?
that. Yeah, they came that way. So I'm just gonna, let's do the poppy. So this has 5 leaves on it. So I'm just gonna cut out 5 leaves. Hmm?
Water?
Yeah, but you're gonna make it thinner with your fingers. So this is a, yeah, this is a 1/4 inch roll out. And it doesn't matter this fluted edge because I'm gonna get rid of it anyway. I tried the other side, but it doesn't come out as well. So once you have your leaves, what you want to do is you're going to kind of spread it out a little bit. And I kind of like this way of doing it in your palm because it automatically makes kind of a rounded. And just gently, just kind of spread it out. Because you want to thin it out a bit. And then you just kind of flatten it out with your fingers. You don't want it to be perfect because flowers aren't perfect in their shapes. And again, you can make it this anything you want, but so poppies are a little ruffled. So you can, there's a couple ways to ruffle these. If you want the edges to be a little ruffled or more like this. And I literally just kind of make a, like you know how you do pie crust? And you just kind of crimp it. Crimp it a little bit.
Maybe it's kryptonite. Maybe
Kryptonite.
Superman's here.
There you go. So you can have just like a, you know, or you can get a little tool, little ball, and you can kind of, oh yeah, there you go. You can kind of just spread it out a little bit. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do these. it's just like a little, or it can just be plain. You don't even have to do anything to it. So once you have these, you just, and I'm gonna do these fast. So these have the ridges, which I don't particularly like on these. So I just go like this, and it takes the ridges off. This one I'm just gonna make kind of just plain and simple. And on this one, all the petals are the same size. You'll see a lot of the other flowers, they start from small and they go to large. But the good thing about poppies is they're pretty much all the leaves are the same size, so it's pretty easy. Just smooth this out a little bit. So like most flowers have a stem, a piston, some sort of middle little piston. So you have your leaves. Now you want to build the center, and that's what you're going to work on. You're going to wrap the flower around the center. So I think for this one, I did kind of a, you always just want to make, this is going to be your base of no matter what flower you're working on in this technique. So this one, I just made a little ball at the top. Just play with it. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I got my trusty knife.
Wait, could you show us what you have there?
Yeah, it's basically
It
just
looks like a fat golf cube.
Like a what?
fat
Golf? What's a
T.
tee?
Golf cube. I'm like, what is a golf cube?
A cube is a tee.
I think she's mismatching her sports.
Right.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like a fat golf tee. And then again, I just did again, you can just play with it. I think I just made some cuts on the top. And that's really all you need to do. You can separate a little bit, but you don't really need that. So then it just looks like that. Then you get to make these little stems, whiskers, or whatever you want to call them. And that's basically just rolling out really thin. And taper them on the end, so they just look like that. It's just rolled out. And you just want to make, several of them. I'm only going to do 4 just for the purposes of time, but you can make as many as you want and put them on there. Okay, and you kind of want them to be roughly the same length. So we're going to attach them to this first. So we are going to score. My middle name is Slip and Score because I love doing this. Put some slip on it. And then you're just going to attach these. And you attach them, and then you just want to press them in a little bit. So it's now part of the stem. And you can space them apart better if you want. But again, you could do 10 of these around if you wanted to. So that's your base. So now I'm going to attach my leaves. So I am going to, what am I going to do?
Spoken like a real school teacher.
That's right, right? I make it natural. And you just attach it to this.
The bottom, from the bottom up.
Yep, just attach it to the bottom. And then you just want to like press it down into it so that it sticks all the way around. Now you have your first leaf. Now we're going to get the second one, do the same thing. These are a little soft. This clay is pretty soft, so.
Is that WSO or Stony White?
It's Stony White, yeah. I love Stony White. I don't know why, I really like it. It doesn't have a lot of, I don't think it has a lot of grit or,
No, it's a nice clay.
yeah. It's kind of nice when you're hand building. So again, each one you put, just press it down, blend it in. We'll play with them once we get these on, and then make them look a little more like flowers. And then do it again. So one on each side, and then you go in the middle. It's starting to look like a flower. Press it in. I want everything to stick really well. And then we have one more. This one looks a little different, but it doesn't matter. So you can kind of squeeze it together a little bit so it's nice and firm. So now you have a little stem thing too. You can also see this one's really thin, it's gonna fall apart. You can make this on, well, you can make this on a stick, and then when you're done, take the stick out. You'll have a hole, but make it a little bit bigger because you know that the clay's gonna shrink a little bit. So that afterwards you can put the stick back in and put them in your garden or make a bouquet, something like that. But just remember that clay shrinks. What does it shrink, like 13% or?
Yeah.
Depends on the clay.
Yeah,
I think Stony is like 10 to 12.
10 to 12. So once you have your basic then you can play with the leaves. Now, you want the leaves to turn in a little bit, or come out a little bit. You just have to play with it, get the shape that you want. This one leaf looks so funny because it's not part of it, but anyway, that's just a simple. So that took what, 10 minutes, 5 minutes? Yeah, super simple. So and then you don't want to lay it down, it's going to get flat. So you want to, put it up against something while it dries. Well, when I make my flowers, I make them right away and put them on whatever I'm working on. That's just me. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll make the flower on the pot. And I'll show you that technique with this. And it actually is like I make it right on the pot. And these hydrangeas, I make on the pot. So what I do is I take this little pot, this little cone shape, and I'll make a circle on my pot. Actually, let me just grab this. Okay, but Carrie taught me the best technique. I was coiling with round coils, and I could never get it straight. So she said, do thin strips, flat strips, and that changed my world.
It's beautiful.
Because this is just thin strips of clay, and it's just so much easier to get it nice and straight. But what I would do is if I, like a lot of times, my signature is a hydrangea on either side. That's kind of like what I'd like to do. And so I'll take my little cone and I'll put it up here, and then I'll sketch a circle around it. And then I will score the heck out of that circle and slip it, score and slip this, and I put this on and make sure I really get it on really, really well. And then I start building my hydrangea. And I've found that that's easier for me when I'm doing something like that than trying to make the hydrangea and then stick it to the, I've had them fall off. And you can't really get in there because you don't want to squeeze and squash the flowers. So sometimes it's easier just to do stuff right on the pot, depends on what you're doing. But that's kind of how I like to do that. I'm gonna put this away. These are pretty much, very much the same. You build your little stem, and in this case, how do I do this? Yeah. So the easiest way again is just to build your what do they call it? A piston? What do they call it? Stamen. Thank you. Stamen. So
Pistil.
Is the
yeah, thank you. What did I say? Piston? That's a car, right?
Pistil is the bigger piece in the middle, and the little tiny ear-like ones are the stamens.
Oh, very good. Okay. So you can just start all of your flowers like this. It's the simplest way, and you're just going to wrap your leaves around it. It's super simple. And when you have like a regular flower, you want to start small. Like you want to do the smaller. You want to do your smaller pieces in the center, and then work out bigger. And again, you don't want it too thick. You don't want it too thin. You got to find that happy medium where it doesn't tear, but it's thin enough where you can just kind of, that seems to be about the right. I don't know what this is. Maybe an 8. That seems to be a really good width for me. And you do you, and everybody is a little bit different. But again, all you have to do is wrap these around. Just want to flip and score a little bit, and just start it. And then you can make it as big as you want, or as narrow as you want. You can put 20 leaves on here and make a rose out of it. It just depends. And then you just want to shape it a little bit.
Looks like a lily.
Yeah, it could be a lily, cow lily. Yeah, you could put one more big one and it'd be a cow lily. So literally you can make, sometimes I just look at flowers. I'll just go in the garden, and not my garden unfortunately, but if I see a flower I like or in a book or something, then I just try and recreate it, because if you know this basic technique, you can pretty much create anything by the size of the leaves, the shape of the leaves, how many you put on, and you just start building it. You just build more and more, and you get bigger and bigger, and that's how you come up with this one. So super simple. The other, so this one is a little different. This one I kind of wanted it to be a little bit more dainty, and I ruffled the leaves a little bit more. Now keep in mind, you do something like this, it becomes very fragile, and good luck going through the whole process to glazing without chipping something off. But I found that when you put them on something, they become a lot more stable. If you're just handling this as a bouquet, or you're going to make several little ones, I mean, you can. I mean, definitely. They're just more fragile. So I would consider doing something a little thicker. They seem to be a little hardier to do this. The other way that I do this, where I put it directly on the pot and I build it on the pot. I have another slab under here. And this is actually my favorite way to make flowers. Is I start with just a straight line. I don't use any molds on these. These are just hand kind of fun, funky. And then you can make a template when you find a pattern you like, but everyone is always different. So I just I start with my first strip. I'm going to be wrapping this. Well, actually, let's make a circle first. So this will be your base. And it can be as big or little as you want. Now your first row that you're going to wrap around is going to be a little bit smaller. So I just go, that's it. And then you want to, this is a bit thick, but you want to press it so it's thinner. Press the top of it. Then you're going to score under here, so I just go like this. So that you score the bottom. And then I score my round. I get in there and really score. I'm not shy about scoring. I want those little bits in there to grab on. And then put a bunch of slip on here. And then you want to slip your flower. And then what you do is you start at the end and you make a circle. And then you just wrap it around. And that is the start of your flower. See how easy that is? You can actually do this without this thing right on the, like most of these, I did them right on the, I didn't even have this round thing, I just did them right on the pot. So you can just make yourself a circle, draw it, slip and score it, and then just start wrapping this around. And that's all you have to do. So I have this starting, and then I do another one that's a little bit bigger, because my flower, you want it to be bigger on the outside. So I'm going to make the leaves a little bit, the petals a little bit bigger. That's it. And again, you can ruffle these edges. You can do anything you want decorative to this. And the sky is the limit. A lot of times what I'll do is I will just, I'll score it. I'll just make lines like this. You can see like some of these have scores on them. And then you want to score the bottom. So my round is not big enough, but it's okay. We can play with it. And you want to slip it. And then you're just going to make your second pass on here. And it's okay that I ran out of that because I'll just squeeze it in there and make it work. And then you just want to, on the bottom, see, you want to make sure that you adhese the two together. I usually just get one of these and just press it through. The flowers don't need to be intimidating, they're super simple. And then just play with it, you know. In nature, petals are always different shapes, and then since I didn't score those other ones, I'm going to score these inside. See, so that's super simple. Then you just pop that on a pot like this. Just score, draw a circle around it, score it really well, and then just put that right on there. So that is those are 3 different techniques: the hydrangea, the using the cutters, or I just like if I want to make a tulip or something, I'll just go like this. You don't need anything fancy. And you always want to press the edges so they look more natural. And the little flowers I made for the hydrangea, these little flowers, I put them in here too. Like I just use them on their own. I'll make them a little bit bigger. I'll show you a bigger one. And you can use them like a little filler flower, or I actually have a vase, a square, really beautiful vase. The whole top of it, I just put all of those little flowers. There must be, I don't know, 1,000 of them, just all over the top of it. So, I mean, you can do whatever, just whatever feels right at the time. But if I just want to do like a tulip, I literally will just take this, make a little thing like that, and then just start putting them together. You don't even need the middle thing if you don't want to do that. Or you can make a, a calla lily that way. Because I'm doing all these really fast, so they're not quite as refined as I would want, but. Just make a little. I mean, it's that simple.
It's a crocus.
Crocus?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is a crocus?
Right.
Tiny.
Springtime.
Purple
First
Yeah.
flower in
White.
the spring.
Purple,
with
white,
gold,
yellow.
orange, gold.
Oh, I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's stamen.
And so you can make as many leaves on here as you want, as robust.
Now, so these that you've made for us, they have stems. Do you trim those down because on your?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I would do if I was going to put this on a pot, I would take my machete and I would go like this. And just make it as flat as I want. And then you can score that and slip it and just put it on anything you want. That's the fun part. And then leaves are super simple. I mean, leaves are probably the simplest thing in the world. You don't have to you can use a leaf, a real leaf, and yeah, you just do this. And if you had a leaf, which I don't have one on me, or sometimes I'll use silk plant leaves, and that way they never die. And just press it on top of here, and you get the leaf outline. Yeah, that's a little too realistic for me. I like it a little more just funky. So there's your leaf, and I just draw your little things on it. And then you want to bend them and make them look, you know. Yeah, and then you just pop that on next to your flower, and it's so simple. Something like that. Boy, we turned out a lot of flowers.
Yeah, beautiful.
You have questions, or anyone want to try something?
Just see the little bud on the hydrangea.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. So the little buds, super simple, like I was telling everybody earlier. Sometimes I'll just sit in front of the TV and I'll just have my little box with a wet towel underneath it, and I just pound them out. You just roll a ball. You have your ball. Then you roll it lengthwise, so it's like a little log. And then I press the ends and just kind of make it into a little pellet. Just like that. So it's flat on the ends. And then you want to get a thin, sharp tool, knife or blade or scalpel, and you make one slice down about halfway through. Hold it by the bottom so you're not squeezing the top, because then it's hard to.
Or slicing your hand.
Yeah, exactly. And then you make one slice on either side.
Not as far down.
No, it's the same length as far down. And you separate. You just separate these pieces. Okay. And then you take your thumb and you smash it. You smash it down between your fingers. Each little piece. You don't have to squash it too much, but basically that's the little thing. And sometimes what I'll do when I just have like one hydrangea or something, I'll take a little teeny tiny bit and I'll put it in the center. Just for like a little.
So cute.
Yeah. And then what you can also do to further kind of enhance it, you can kind of take any type of tool that's pointy and kind of make an indent in these petals. Now that's getting pretty detailed if you have to do a bunch of them.
Right.
And then you have like a little mark in there. Yeah, so these now look like some little flower. They don't look like a hydrangea.
Yeah.
And you can make it bigger, like kind of I did on here. You make them bigger and you can use them, I use them for like fillers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, filler thing.
Just rotate it. Yeah, I just did mine with a pencil.
Yeah, see, that's beautiful. See, that's beautiful. You can shape, let me see, that's really pretty. See, you're a natural. See, that looks really good. That looks like a hydrangea. See, she's better than me. Yeah, that's, so you can just play with it and just do, you know.
The blue is an underglaze.
This is a glaze, regular glaze. This is a low fire glaze, but you could use an underglaze that looks very much like this. You guys don't do low fire glazes here. This was done someplace else, but you can get the same color with an underglaze. Yeah, and this is a regular glaze.
And to make the bowl of hydrangea petals, you make the bowl first.
I make, yeah. So I make this first, and then score and slip it really well, and then just put the little flowers on it. And if you want to make a full ball, just take 2 of these and put them together,
And did you,
score it really well.
did you use a clear glaze on the whole thing?
I did. Oh, no, I didn't. Actually, low fire white glaze is shiny. That's why I kind of liked using low fire for a long time. But you could use, if you're using it under glaze, then just use a clear on top. Yeah. But it just depends on what you want your, piece to look like. I kind of like them dull like this too, sometimes.
Glazed.
This is glazed with your glaze here. Yeah.
Pure glaze.
Yeah.
You hand build the bottom?
I did. See, this is clunky. This is my clunky coil stage before I found the tip from Carrie. And that everything is coiled. I love hand building, but I do throw, and then I'll just put stuff on the pot that I throw. But I can't throw big enough. So I like to hand build. That's my favorite thing.
So Carrie says it's easier to put a strip that
Yes.
builds up than
Yeah.
the foil.
That's what I did on that one.
Wow, unbelievable. I'll have to try.
It was so much easier. I can't even tell you how much easier it is to do it that way. It's changed my life.
When you do this strip, you build, do you have to score each one?
Yeah, and I did the bottom in a mold, on a mold. So I started it that way, and then I added the strips on it.
Now each strip,
Yeah.
you score and slip, score and slip.
Score and slip, score and slip. That's the way to do it. Yeah. Does anybody have any other like flowers or anything else they want to see? But that kind of gives you the basic,
It was great. Thank you.
Yay, thank you guys.